Catch of the Day by Ahmed Shoaibi. Hamad came down to the kitchen for breakfast, excited that it was the weekend at last. His father was already up and greeted Hamad with a hug. "Good morning, Hamad," he said. "Do you have anything fun planned this weekend?" "Just the usual," replied Hamad. "I'll probably hang out with my friends in the mall and watch a movie." "How about you do something different this weekend?" said his father. "How about we go fishing?" Hamad looked at him blankly. "Fishing?" he said. "Why do we have to go fishing? Isn't it easier to just buy fish from the market?" Hamad's father smiled and sat him down at the kitchen table. "Sure, it's easier to just buy it nowadays, but fishing is part of your heritage. You should know more about it. You should experience it. Fishing is how your ancestors survived, as it was a major part of their diet when other food sources were scarce. It was also an important source of income for them and a way of life. Your grandfather loved fishing. It will be fun. Come on, let's get ready." Hamad always loved hearing stories about the past and about his grandparents had lived. "Okay, Dad," he said. "I'll give it a try." "Let's go." "Not quite so fast," laughed his father. "First, we must get everything ready. We will need to make sure that we have our fishing license, fishing rods, reels, lines, hooks, different types of bait, a cooler, some snacks, a first aid kit, and sunscreen." The next morning, just as day was breaking, Hamad's father went quietly into Hamad's room where Hamad was still fast asleep. "Hamad, it's 5 a.m. It's time to get up." "Why do I have to wake up so early on a weekend?" asked Hamad, rolling back under the covers. "Haven't you heard of the saying, 'the early bird catches the worm'?" asked his father. "Well, actually, in our case, these two early birds will catch the fish. There's an appropriate time for everything. Besides, it will be beautiful to watch the first rays of sunlight breaking the night's darkness." Hamad's father had been right. The early part of the day was the quietest, most peaceful part of the day. But now Hamad was ready to fish. "I'm ready. Let's fish," he said. "Excellent," said his father. "But before we get to the fun part, there are a few things we have to do. You have to rig your pole and bait your hook. You have to use the rig and bait which is appropriate for the type of fish you are hoping to catch." Hamad was getting frustrated at the long wait and was eager to get started. "Dad, that took ages," he said. "Can I start fishing now?" "Yes," his father replied. "Now cast your line and wait quietly." "That's it?" asked Hamad in surprise. "We just wait and do nothing?" "Patience is a virtue, my son, and good things come to those who wait," said his father. As they waited for the fish to bite, Hamad looked back to shore from the boat. "You know what, Dad?" he said. "I never noticed how beautiful Abu Dhabi's shoreline is until now." They had been fishing for over half an hour, and Hamad was beginning to get restless. But suddenly, he felt a tug on his rod. "Dad, I feel something!" he shouted. "I think I caught a fish. I will reel it in." But as he reeled in his line, he discovered that it wasn't a fish at all. "Your first catch is a shoe," laughed his dad. "But don't give up just yet. Sometimes what you get isn't what you had hoped for. But be persistent and try again until you get what you are looking for." But Hamad was getting fed up with waiting and angrily flung the shoe back into the sea. "Son, why did you throw the shoe so hard like that?" asked his father. "The fish will sense the splash and swim deeper into the sea. We'll have to wait even longer now." Sometimes the smallest ripple can make a big difference. So control your frustration and consider the consequences. And Hamad's father was right. The shoe had scared the fish away, and they waited in vain for something to bite. But Hamad knew that this time it was his fault. The fish weren't biting, and he decided to wait patiently for the fish to return. But the longer he waited, the harder it became not to get frustrated. Hamad's father looked at his son and saw that he was getting more and more disheartened. "Would you like me to help you?" he asked. "Yes," replied Hamad. "Don't think that I will catch anything today." "Looks to me like you need a new strategy," said his father. "Consider changing your bait and your location, then try again. But you need to try smarter." Hamad did as he was told, but again waited and waited for something to happen. He was ready to call it a day when his father pointed excitedly at his rod. "Look, Hamad, something's biting," he said. "This could be your first catch." "Yes, it's definitely something," Hamad said. "It is fighting against my pull." "Reel it in and lift the rod up," said his father. "Whoa!" cried Hamad. "I caught a big one." Hamad was thrilled with his first ever catch and couldn't wait to catch another one. "Dad, you were right," he said. "This beats the mall and the cinema. It feels so good to have finally caught something. All that preparation, getting up early, waiting patiently, it's really paid off. Can we do this every Saturday?" It seemed that once the first fish had been caught, fishing became easier and easier, and soon the cooler was filled with fish. "Okay, Hamad," said his father. "I think we should call it a day and go back home." "But we are finally catching a lot of fish. Why stop now?" asked Hamad. "Son, fish is a natural resource which we should nurture and not deplete," explained his father. "It has fed your ancestors and will continue to feed your grandchildren if we take care of it and utilize it carefully. We should only take enough to satisfy our needs." Hamad and his dad had packed up and returned to shore and had now arrived home with a fish. "Welcome back," said Hamad's mother. "How was your first fishing experience?" "Definitely not what I was expecting," said Hamad. "It taught me patience. I enjoyed spending the day with my dad in the same way he used to spend time with his dad." "I'm glad you had fun," said his mother. "Take a shower and I'll cook your fish for you." After his shower, Hamad took a short nap. He was tired from his early start and from the sea air. When he awoke, he went back down to the kitchen, where there was a huge bowl of fish biryani on the table. He sat down with his parents and began to eat. "Lunch is especially delicious today because Hamad caught the fish himself," said his mother. "Tastes so fresh," said Hamad. "Thanks to your cooking. Thanks to Dad for teaching me how to fish." "Thanks to your perseverance and patience, Hamad," smiled his father. "Thanks to our ancestors who recognized the bounties of the sea and protected it for many future generations to enjoy." The end.